When it comes to looking at fundamental analysis for commodities, there's two important words to take into account: supply and demand. Those two simple words are vital. Firstly, let's go over the different commodity groups. Soft commodities. This includes the likes of cotton, coffee beans, cocoa beans, wheat, soya beans. Then you have metals, which includes gold, silver, copper and platinum, etc. And finally, you have energies, which includes the likes of WTI oil, Brent oil and gas. These commodities drive the world. Let's look at soft commodities first. These are agricultural produce. So firstly, we need to be aware of weather conditions. Has it been a good harvest, which could affect supply? We can find out such information from the US Department of Agriculture. You also need to take into account what countries produce such crops. Let's look at coffee beans. Countries which grow coffee beans includes the likes of Brazil, Vietnam, Colombia, Indonesia. What is occurring with those countries? Is there civil unrest, for example? Then look at demand. Is there an increase for such a need for such produce? Moving on to metals. The question you have to ask yourself is, what is that metal used for, and what is its main purpose, and is there a demand for it? Now, there tends to be two major uses for metals. Firstly, let's look at gold, which, though is used in some manufacturing, its main attraction for investors is as a safe haven. What is a safe haven? Well, at times of uncertainty, conflict, recession, smart money moves into safe havens. This is called the flight to safety. Safe havens include the likes of US dollar, Japanese yen, Swiss franc, and gold. As well as that, gold is heavily linked to the US dollar, so any key US economic information or data can also affect gold prices. Don't forget to check out your financial calendar. So, rounding it up for gold, when times are looking bleak, gold tends to shine. One of the other purposes of metals is industrial use. Copper, for example, is a metal used in all different types of manufacturing. So when there's economic growth, copper, also known as the red metal, could possibly rise in value. Supply of such metals needs to also be taken into account. What countries produce metals, and is there a danger of that supply chain being affected? And finally, energies. Oil and gas currently drives the world and is needed for almost all our current needs, from transportation, heating to industry, and even household products like lipstick. What countries produce oil and gas, and what is happening to those countries which can affect supply? The Middle East is a major source of oil, and at times of conflict or risk of conflict in that region, oil prices can be greatly affected. Russia, for example, is a major supplier of gas. At the time of the Ukraine conflict, sanctions was placed upon Russia, which affected supply and in turn affected the price of gas. Another key thing you need to be aware of when it comes to supply of oil is OPEC. OPEC is the Organization of Petroleum Producing Countries, and this organization has the power to increase or decrease oil production, which can greatly affect the price, not only what we pay at the pump, but also the market price. And finally, demand. As mentioned, oil and gas is used in so many things such as industry. Is there industrial or economic growth, or is there a slowdown? When times are good, demand will also be good. However, when things are not looking too good, demand and price for oil and gas will also not be so desirable. So remember, when it comes to fundamental analysis for commodities, it's always about supply and demand.